not a very good hand to call 3-bet, and he calls. Wow. Well, he's got Phil Ivey dominated, but if he doesn't hit a piece of this flop...
5-5-10.
Well, that's the problem with King-Queen. More often than not, you're going to miss the flop. And even when you hit the flop, you don't know if you're good.
So true, so true. Well, this is the longest pause for a check. I think we're going to see a check. Be pretty strong leading into a 3-better.
Talk about physical tell sometimes. If a player takes that long to check, what does that usually mean?
Well, one of two things. He doesn't have anything, or he's got a big hand. Usually it's one or the other in that situation.
11,000.
Yeah, in my experience, I found that most often when a player takes that long, he's trying to take a long time to almost make you think, or make you think I have something. So I'm going to check, and I'm going to think about it. And all he's going to do is check and fold.
This is actually an interesting scenario here. With this flop, Andrew Feldman could represent a hand, but I can't see him doing anything but folding right now. And King High doesn't feel like it's the best hand here. It is, but it doesn't feel like it.
I mean, you're playing the hand out of position. You're playing the hand out of position against Phil Ivey. I mean, you talk about position. I asked you earlier, how much does position mean? This is evidence, isn't it?
It is very obvious that in all poker, position helps, but in particular when you're playing against the great players, look at this. Wow!
28,500.
Now this is poker at the next level. Can Ivey outplay him, though? Holy moly, I didn't see that coming.
Well, I still remember the hand when Ivey got the best of Feldman last year. I remember that hand so well. Ivey had a nut flush against Feldman's king high flush, and Feldman paid him off.
This feels fishy, and I think Phil Ivey might sniff this out.
Wow, this is great. See, this is the thing. Feldman so badly wants to outplay Ivey.
Holy moly. And now Feldman could be in trouble unless he hits that turn card, and he doesn't.
8.
And now what do you do if you're Feldman?
You know
Ivey
what?
Just called
you
your
know what I
check
do?
raise.
Pure and simple. I check and get ready to muck my hand, or I push all in right now.
Check.
Feldman only has 64,000 behind. The pot is 72.
Well, that's
Feldman
why
checks.
stack size, he could shove there and hope that he bluffs Phil Ivey out. I mean, Phil Ivey's completely floating Feldman here.
27,000.
Wow. I swear. I love Phil Ivey. I just love him. This is great.
This is poker at the highest level.
Straight out. Feldman so badly wanted to outplay Ivey. So badly. And Ivey knew it.
He sure did. He sniffed it out. I think part of it had something to do with his re-raise size, too. It was only 17,500.
And Ivey takes it down. Feldman mucks the hand. Welcome to the big leagues, buddy. You're playing with the big boys now.
Il est bien, hein? Il est bien, il a des belles mains. Tirage canne par les deux bouts et la carte au-dessus. Il faudrait pas qu'un 6 vienne. Field check. Michael met 50 000. En plein bluff. Phil Ivey pourrait faire ce qu'on appelle un check raise. Il a son petit ordinateur dans la tête qui marche très 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 fort là.
Marche fort et vite, Phil Ivey.
Alors est-ce que si je lui fais un check raise, je prends le pot? Ou est-ce que je colle pour essayer de toucher ma canne par les deux bouts? C'est la question qui se pose. Je pense qu'il va lui mettre 150 000. Non, il paye. C'est bien.
Avec le turn, c'est une dame.
La dame ne change rien. Field check. Alors, est-ce que le fait d'avoir payé le coup paralyse Michael? Pas du tout. Michael insiste. Et je pense que Phil Ivey aurait dû faire un check raise. Parce que maintenant, c'est plus pareil. Est-ce qu'il va payer 140 000 pour une canne par les deux bouts. Est-ce qu'il a envie de payer 140 000 $ pour une canne par les deux bouts, alors que s'il avait fait un check raise, il avait non seulement la chance d'améliorer si la carte venait et s'il était payé, il avait aussi la chance de voir son adversaire passer. D'où l'importance du check raise, et surtout dans cette position, il aurait dû le faire. Mais il avait peut-être peur du côté imprévisible de Michael, c'est un joueur qu'il ne connaît pas. Il voulait se donner une chance d'améliorer ses cartes, peut-être en payant moins cher.
Alors là, il hésite, Phil Ivey.
Ah bah 140 000 pour une canne par les deux bouts. Ah, et il lui fait maintenant.
Il fait tapis.
Et il lui fait maintenant. Et c'est là où Phil Ivey n'est pas un joueur comme les autres. C'est là où c'est magnifique. Et il lui demande combien. Je sais pas tellement comment il va payer, mais bon, ça c'est formidable. C'est formidable ce que vient de faire Phil Ivey. C'est génialement joué. L'autre va évidemment jeter sa main. Il a perdu 226 000 $ dans ce coup, mais il est obligé de jeter sa main.
Et voilà comment Phil Ivey, en grand champion, gagne
En
ce coup.
très grand champion. Quelle belle main. En fait, il a fait... Normalement, il aurait dû faire un check raise. Il fait pas le check raise, la dame le paralyse, sait plus quoi faire, l'autre continue à parier. Et il a vu, il a senti...
Phil and Patrick sharing an intimate moment or two.
Wonderful.
What are we at?
I think
300, yeah. I'm on for double too.
I give you a $500 free roll if you guess what I have. I have $500,000 free roll. $500.
$500.
You get a 1,000 free roll if you guess what I have.
Rough guess, Phil.
Dwan asking for a count from Phil Ivey, who's re-raised him with 10-8 suited. Dwan reaching for the big chips, and he'll re-raise to 29-6.
Päätäkin pientä naljailu.
Dwan has just 7-8 off suit here. Little does Phil know it, but he's got the best hand, and he's got Dwan dominated.
Oho.
Ivey re-raises to 84 and change, and Dwan insta-folds.
I wish we have a time bank.
Nice, son.
Back with more cash game action when we return to Las Vegas.
Paul Jackson, however, has breached that magic million chip mark, and were he to double through, we'd be looking at a real horse race here.
Well, it's such a different game. Two-handed here. On the flop, pair of jacks and a 7. Ivey's still the leader with that queen-8 suited. 3 hearts out there for him. 80,000 is the bet.
And that's a pretty standard poker play, Barry. The big stack on a flop like this in an unraised pot wants to keep making tester bets. Try to find out if the little guy connected in any way. And with that kind of flop, it looks unlikely. So Phil Ivey says, okay, I've got queen high, but I'll take a stab at it. And look at this! Re-raise by Jackson.
Wow. To 170,000.
Now, I like the play because Paul Jackson is willing to get into a poker match here. He's not going to just sit around and wait to flop the nuts.
This may be the line in the sand here for Paul Jackson.
Phil Ivey, though, if he really thinks deeply about this, might be asking himself, well, now wait a minute. If this guy had a jack in his hand, would he re-raise me here? Probably not. So what the heck is he doing?
So he's thinking it, and the question is, will he overthink
A
it?
re-raise!
Well, there you are. Re-raises to 320,000. It's right back in the face of Paul Jackson.
We are watching some poker here, Barry. Both guys with nothing. Phil Ivey's nothing is a little bit better than Paul Jackson's, but nobody connected with that flop, and here they are, raise, re-raise, re-raise.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, Jackson is re-raising. What the heck is going on here?
Re-raising.
Another 150,000, now it's up to 470.
Almost 1 million chips in this pot now.
This is incredible.
And you can almost hear the wheels turning in the head of Phil Ivey. Is this for real?
Right, and I'm thinking Phil Ivey has got to fold here.
Yeah.
I mean, is his opponent going to raise him twice with nothing? After Phil Ivey has shown strength?
How much you got left? 360. 380. 360, 380.
380,000 is what Jackson finally arrives at.
Barry, let's put this in perspective. We're looking at a 1 million chip pot, and both players have nothing. We are looking at two guys bluffing with nothing. Both of them. Who's going to blink?
With 2 cards to come. I don't think he's going to blink.
I don't see how he can possibly continue in this hand. Everything Paul Jackson has done.
All in.
What?
That's why we're here and they're there.
Absolutely astonishing poker.
Not much point thinking, is there? It's a good lay down, isn't it?
He said it was a good laydown, and he's going to do just that. And Phil Ivey is the guy who did not blink.
Watching this hand was like witnessing great art. It's absurd and wonderful at the same time. It's just mind-blowing what we just witnessed.
Barry's going to step out here and raise to 5,500 with Queen 10 offsuit. Phil Ivey suspects something. Raises Barry. We have another air Ivey hand. Ivey suspects that Barry was out of line, and he's right. But it looks like Lex, who's got a decent hand, suspects that they're both out of line, and he's right. Look at them. They look like suspects. Nice play by Lex. 51-6.
How much more are you playing?
I think Phil Ivey's posturing here,
110,
asking Lex how much he has.
140 something? 130, 140 more?
Doesn't want Barry to know he raised him with air.
I'm all in.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Phil Ivey just went all in with a 5-deuce offsuit. I don't believe it.
thought you were just angry at Barry.
I am.
That is one of the great bluffs
Nice hand.
in the history of high-stakes poker. What a move.
All these super good spots that keep coming up.
Lose
Too
50
good.
each one.
Yeah, it's like it's a really good spot though. Like
It's never a super good spot when you're against a superpower.